Welcome to Decorating Tips and Tricks. I am Kelly Wilkness here with Anita Joyce, and this is episode 320, Victoriana, Painting a Fireplace, and more. We've got a lot of things coming at you today. And before we get started, we want to remind you to sign up for the Decorating Tips and Tricks email. We're going to be sending out an occasional email with extra content and brand discounts and other interesting things that we think you all might enjoy. So get on the email list so you don't miss out. The link will be in the show notes. And as always, you can find the show notes for this episode at decoratingtipsandtricks.com/320.
So Kelly, if you were walking in an airport and you heard two people talking, and let's say one said to the other one, "That's so Victorian." Like, what would you think that person meant by that?
Oh, maybe that it was sort of old-fashioned?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's what I would think. Now, we're not talking about your house. When you hear someone say that's so Victorian, yes. You don't think that, I don't assume they're talking about a Victorian-styled furniture or clothing or a house. I think that they mean it's frumpy, it's outdated, it's maybe a little over the top, but really kind of out of step with today is what I would say somebody means when they say that's so Victorian. But the irony there is so many traditions that the Victorians started are so much a part of our daily lives now. And so many of these things were actually started by Victoria and Albert. Some were started by other people around the same time, but it's amazing how so much changed around that time. She had a long reign, I think 63 years, something like that. So it's over a long span of period of time. Plus, they just didn't have as many celebrities then as they do now. So,
oh yeah, she was the celebrity, right?
Yeah, she was like the Kardashians rolled into Taylor Swift, rolled into, I don't know, everyone. I can't even think of everybody.
Beyonce.
Yes.
I'm so glad we're doing this episode because I think it's so interesting. Well, I love the backstory of everything and I love the history of everything. And I do dearly love watching Victoria and Albert and learning, even though it's, obviously, a dramatization of their life. And she is very, very, very beautiful to look at. And I'm not sure that Victoria was.
The actresses, yeah.
Yes. I'm not sure that the actual Victoria looked like that, but I mean, who could? She's so stunning. But I just so enjoyed the show and I love the history of it and all the different players from her prime ministers and all of that. And
Lord M.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. And all that we've talked about, and of course, living in a Victorian era home is kind of, makes it even more of interest to me. But we've referenced this and doing this show for a long time. So I'm so glad we got the time to do it.
Right. So are you ready to dive in?
I am.
Well, I think one of the things that they are so much known for more than anything else is how they've impacted Christmas. And what people don't realize is that for about 200 years before that, the Puritan government in the UK banned Christmas as being too pagan. People were getting drunk. It was not considered a religious holiday, and they decided that it was no longer a good thing to celebrate. So it really wasn't even mentioned much in the newspapers or anything. It was just not, it wasn't something that people, businesses did not, it was not considered a holiday where people took off work for the day. And there just wasn't really anything associated with it. But they made it a celebration. I mean, they were really, both of them, Victoria and Albert, were German. And Albert brought with him many of these German traditions. And there were some pictures drawn of them with these traditions, and then they became so widespread. And I'm starting with the Christmas because I think these are the best known things associated with Victoria and Albert. They loved to give each other presents, so gift giving became really a big part of Christmas. Also, Christmas caroling, they didn't invent it, but the Victorians revived the whole idea of singing Christmas carols and going caroling, from house to house singing. And then the Christmas tree also was not popular. Right, was not popular in England until they brought it. And Prince Albert brought that, and then, they decorated it with ornaments. And the and the candles on there.
See, so if it wasn't for Albert, there would be none of these crazed blog tours where people have 5 and 7 trees all over their house. Mm-hmm. There would be no Balsam Hill. There would be none of this.
Right. Well, but also like the greenery, people didn't put the greenery in their homes. I mean, I think that was an old tradition, but it had kind of fallen out of favor. So this kind of brought Christmas back into being popular. They also, Victorians, not necessarily Victorian Albert, but the Victorians, as this trend with Christmas being celebrated, started also including St. Nicholas as part of, that started coming back into popularity. You hearing about St. Nicholas, pictures of him were popular. Christmas cards, for the first time, these really became inexpensive, and somebody came up with the idea of creating a card that said Merry Christmas or Happy Christmas. And so the tradition of sending Christmas cards started around this time as well. And then if you think back, Charles Dickens came out with A Christmas Carol in 1848, and this is when the whole idea of charitable giving around Christmas time started to become a thing.
So interesting. And when I was reading about it too, it's romanticism was really on the rise during her reign. And it's really because they had an actual love story. I mean, so many of the other monarchs or would-be monarchs had arranged marriages and things really were not as happy on the home front, mm-hmm. but they were truly, truly in love from what you read. Mm-hmm. And so they wanted to give gifts to each other. They thought of special things to do for themselves, for each other and their families. So it sprung out of their love for each other that I think so many of these things caught on, because then the people would see them doing it, and then they would want to emulate it, whether it be putting up a Christmas tree or giving a present or sending out cards. And it was just a wonderful thing.
Well, and before her, the monarchs had been older, kings, and, so she was seen as this fresh, young girl coming into reign. And there was just an excitement, I think, with people that there was just this whole new monarchy coming into existence. I mean, suddenly it's a woman and she's young.
She was only 18.
Right. So, I mean, it was really, and I think you're cluing into something here, that they really did fall in love, and they did not expect her to ask him to marry her. And actually she did ask him because I think she had the higher rank. People expected her to marry his older brother, but she fell in love with Albert. So she married him, and they really did seem to have a real love. And Albert was very much a family man. He was very, religious, from what I understand, or religious. I don't know. I'm not sure I heard he was religious, but he was very concerned about family and, doing the right thing. And he was very all about spending time with your family. He was very family oriented. And this is kind of when people started thinking of Christmas as being a time to spend a Christmas with your family. Before, like I said, it was it wasn't really, nothing was done, or if anything was done, people would just go get drunk. But around this time, people said, oh, it's Christmas. We've got to go stay with grandma. We've got to go visit with our family and have some time together as a family.
Right. Because again, they were emulating them. And also a childhood came in, the actual idea of childhood as we know it now came into sort of, existence during the Victorian era, because before, kids were all sent to work, even if you didn't need to be bringing in money for your family. It was seen to sort of an idea to keep kids out of, away from, getting up to no good, or keeping them away from evil and this and that. And here, the Victorians really changed that, and it became more that the children would have scholarly pursuits and, go to school or have a tutor, and they weren't necessarily sent right to work. So again, that's Albert and his whole idea of the family.
Well, what about the portrait that they did of the pets? They had a portrait artist who they had on speed dial, basically, to do their pet portraits.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh my God.
Yes, yeah. S was apparently their favorite greyhound, or Albert's favorite greyhound. And they started with that dog. And then he also drew some paintings of some other pets. But let's talk too about their wedding. Yeah. Because it's not just Christmas. I mean, that's what people think about, is that because of the Christmas tree and, Albert kind of popularizing that. But Victoria, at the time, people could not really afford, this is during this time, most people did not have much of a wardrobe. And that's why these houses like yours, built around that time, Kelly, don't have much of a closet, because people did not have a wardrobe like they do now. So when people got married, they usually just wore their best dress. Obviously, a queen like Queen Victoria could afford whatever she wanted, but she wanted to be married in a white dress. And here's what changed. There were all these pictures, not photographs, but paintings done of her, or drawings of her wearing this white dress. And when that got out, everyone wanted the white dress. There was a little bit more disposable income around this time because of the Industrial Revolution. And it just caught fire. And then all the brides wanted to wear white for their wedding.
That's so interesting. Right. And how she, in fact, I love, and I'm thinking back the way you started this episode by asking me that question. And it's so true. You think kind of like, oh, old fashioned, stodgy, blah, blah, but no, she's influencing everybody today, every bride today, everybody who celebrates Christmas, everybody who gives a Valentine card, an Easter candy, or celebrates Halloween as well.
Well, what about, how the unwritten rule, you don't show up at, what color are you not supposed to wear if you go to a wedding?
Oh, white.
White. Well, she started that tradition. Because actually what she said was to the guests is that no one was allowed to wear white unless they were part of the bridal party. So I gather her bridesmaids were wearing white, but no one else was supposed to wear white. And from then on, that has taken off to be part of something people expect, that none of the female guests will wear white. They also had a topper on their cake of a bride and groom, which was, they started that tradition. And I don't know if people still do it, but I know when we got married, there was a bride and groom, little plastic bride and groom on top of the cake.
Oh, I love the vintage ones that you could find of those.
I don't think people do those anymore, but it was popular for a long, long time.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh.
You know what else she did was Albert gave her an engagement ring, which was not popular before then.
Wow, that too?
Yes, I know. Well, the whole thing, they love to give each other gifts.
Yeah.
And plus they could afford it. Let's face it. But people saw them doing that, and then that became the popular thing to do. And then so everybody started, that became a thing, to buy your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your husband or wife little tokens of your affection.
Wow. That's so sweet. It really is. They did. I mean, so, maybe what we're seeing and the show that we're, most people that are listening may be enjoying as well. Maybe, a lot of it is really based in truth, and just their relationship was really, an honest, loving relationship rather than just, one of convenience or political strategy.
Well, I think, yeah. And Albert, I think, was really the family focused one. I don't think she liked being a mother so much. I think she had a lot of postpartum depression based on what I've read and in watching the show, which of course some of that is based on truth, but not everything in the Victorian Albert, TV show that's out right now. But it's from what I've read, she was not too crazy about having all the babies, and she was not into nursing them. So they did have a wet nurse.
So our listener, Lisa D. Lisa is just such a fabulous friend of Decorating Tips and Tricks. We love getting her emails. And she had heard that we were talking about doing a segment of an episode about Victoriana and how it's continuing today, all these various traditions. And so she emailed us the other day to let us know that she'd been listening to a class on Audible. So if anybody's on Audible, and I know we had Audible as a sponsor once, so maybe some of you had signed up then, or you're an Audible member on your own, but she listened to Victorian Britain, and Lisa could not speak more highly of this class. And I guess she said it's like $12 or something like that. And she was really enjoying it. And but this was just last night, so I didn't get a chance to check it out yet, but there's a recommendation for one of our other listeners, for all of you guys. So I can put the link to that in the show notes as well.
Yeah, I mean, we could go on and on, but I think that really gets the point across of just how much Victoria and Albert affected just common culture and how many of those effects are still there today. So when you hear that term, oh, that's so Victorian, just think about all these things that are part of our lives today that are so Victorian.
Right. And then so closely impact our home decor. I mean, countless magazines and blogs and books about Christmas and Christmas decorations and how to decorate your Christmas tree. And then even venturing into the other holidays, Easter, Halloween, Valentine's Day, they participated in all these different holidays and made it so visible to the people of England at that time that it's caught fire. And here we all are today, hiding our eggs and putting up our trees and celebrating Halloween with parties. And it's really wonderful. I think it's just so lovely that out of their romance came so many nice traditions that we all get to enjoy years and years later.
Well, and I think it's like so many things, the Victorians had some bizarre traditions also. So I think it's kind of take the ones you like and, the ones that don't make sense for you, don't just ignore those.
Don't you just love a great recommendation from a friend? Well, we're delighted to be recommending these companies and their wonderful products to you today. And let them know your friends at DTT sent you. Pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. We're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about. Visit greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. Green Chef is a delicious delight any time of year, but especially during the holidays. What a wonderful vision to behold as the Green Chef boxes on your doorstep. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. And it makes eating well so easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat a more balanced diet. So let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season. And if you've got guests coming, shop Green Bundles. They're now available at the Green Market. It's your one-stop shop for nutritious grab-and-go breakfasts, including vegan options, brunch kits, wholesome lunches, ready-to-eat snacks, veggie sides, and more. You can feel your best this December and do your best with Green Chef because they offset 100% of the delivery emissions as well as 100% of the plastic in every box. Go to greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT and get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. So we're going to slide on to, I'm making a pun because we're going to slide on to my crush, which are my furry slides that I bought from Cactus Lounge Boutique yesterday. Cactus Lounge Boutique, as you all know, has been a sponsor of Decorating Tips and Tricks. We absolutely love everything that Alyssa's got over there in her shop. And yesterday, one of our other listeners, Susan emailed me, what was that sweater that you guys talked about? So we were emailing back and forth. And so I popped onto a Cactus Lounge Boutique to get the link for Susan to email it over to her. And I was like, oh, what did my wondering eyes did appear? But these furry slides that I could use for, what do you call them, Anita? Inside shoes?
House shoes. Stop it like it's some weird term.
No, I wasn't sure if it was inside shoes or house shoes. Okay,
house
inside
shoes, dear.
House shoes. So I've been, ever since we talked about that, I wanted a pair of house shoes, not slippers.
You wear it with your duster.
I'm going to wear my duster. And when you come to the door, I have my duster on and my house shoes. No, these are fabulous. I'm going to wear them with
I love my house shoes.
Well, I might have to take these shoes outside of the house because they're so cute. So anyway, I will put the link to Alyssa's shop and those shoes in the show notes. But that is definitely my crush for today. They are furry on the inside and they look like a Gucci loafer on the outside. So, I mean, what a combo.
I saw them. They're really cute.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so I'm hungry again today.
Oh, no. I mean, that's always good. I don't know why I'm saying, oh, no. Okay.
Well, I've just realized one of my favorite snack items. I'm not sure I've ever said what it is. The cheese crunchies at Trader Joe's. Are you addicted to those like we are?
No, I don't think I've ever had a cheese crunchie.
The baked ones?
I don't think I have.
Oh, Kelly. If you're going to buy them, though, just fill the whole cart with the bags because you're going to need them.
Then I'm just going to only be able to wear a duster.
You'll only be able to. That's right. They're quite tasty, but they're baked. So they're not.
Oh, they're baked. Oh, so they don't even count.
They're baked. They don't count.
Okay, but wait a minute.
What?
Are they gluten-free?
Yes.
Oh.
They're cheese. They're Cheeto things. They're like cheese,
Okay.
They're, yeah.
All right. I'm going to check them out.
Yeah. I don't know. I hope they don't have any bad dyes in them or anything. I'm just going to assume they don't.
Oh, okay. Point. Just, pretend they don't.
It will be very crushing for me if I find out they have bad stuff in them.
No, don't look. Just enjoy them. You're allowed to have something that you enjoy.
They're so good. Yeah. Yeah.
And we wanted to talk about so good. So we wanted to give a shout out to our listener, Donna C. Okay. Donna hit it out of the park. Well, she's been living it with it being hit out of the park. She had listened to our complimentary colors episode and then emailed us with a lovely little paragraph about how she enjoyed the episode and that she's been using complementary colors, particularly red and green, for years in varying shades, from even a red that like tones almost to a rosy pink and to a chartreuse, limey green, all different tonalities of the red and green, not your Christmas colors, right? And she sent us maybe 4 or 5 photos. Anita and I were completely blown away. So Donna, I know I sent you a quick little email, but we just thought it was just so fabulous what you had shared that we wanted to give you a shout out on the show. So gosh, if anybody needs any further lessons on complementary colors, you could just contact Donna because she's got it.
It's so beautiful. I just was like, oh, she's done such a beautiful job.
Yeah.
I was so struck with it. Really beautiful.
And the different, a toile.
And she has some nice moldings in her house too. Did you notice that with the window?
Yeah. Yes. We're going to be talking about that in an upcoming episode. But yeah, Donna has some really lovely moldings. Her whole home is just beautiful and the color scheme gorgeous. Okay, so as the title indicates, we are going to talk about painting a fireplace today, and this is a listener question from Teresa S. Teresa sent us some photos of this very lovely, it looks like a sort of a family type room with a television, big television in it, and she has one whole wall is brick and there's a fireplace in the center of it. So like the hole for the fireplace, but the entire wall is brick with a rather chunky, a kind of rustic looking piece of wood as the mantle. TV above it, some wires going on, 2 openings on either side of the fireplace that look like maybe they were intended to be for logs. And
A long mantle all the way across.
Right. That's why I said the long rustic wood mantle.
Sorry. Yeah, but it goes all the way. Like it's the whole wall, really.
Yeah. So it's the whole wall of the one end, the shorter end of the room. The rest of the room has comfortable seating, some leather seating. It also is, I wouldn't really call it shiplap. It's not as rustic as shiplap, but it's like a wood paneling, which is really very nice. And it's kind of like in a light color. It could almost even be a whitewash, I believe. What do you think, Anita?
It's hard to tell from the picture.
Wood. It's hard to tell, but it's very light wood, and the brick right now is various tones of brown, sort of a taupe, and white. So and a dark grout. So it's very busy where the brick is involved, and then the ceiling is also planked. So that's what we're looking at Teresa's family room, and she wants to know about painting her fireplace.
Yeah,
I say you're going to paint it, girl.
I think we're in agreement there. That would probably be a great idea. It's really, this is an entire wall of the room. So painting it is going to have a huge impact on how it looks. And I know you have a whole plan, Kelly, so go for it.
Yeah, well, I took the whole room. There are two photos. So the first one, I'm just looking at the wall with the fireplace and the TV and those open boxes, which have no covering on them. They're just bricked inside. And then there's a little hearth. Maybe it's like 3 bricks high and then some stone across. And then when I looked at the next picture and I got to see the walls, there's a lot of windows and doors, so there's a lot of natural light. It's a very bright room. And then, as I said, all this wood paneling on the walls and then on the ceiling. Because initially, when I first saw the photo that was just the brick wall, my thought was, well, paint it white because it looked kind of dark, brighten it up. But when I look at the whole room, what I would do, Teresa, is I would paint that brick a matte black.
Really?
I would. And then I would paint the paneling in a very nice soft white. I would paint the brick the black because you've got a very big TV there, and there looks like there's going to be no good solution with these wires that I'm seeing running across the mantle and down the side, because you'd have to go into the wall to make that work. And I don't know, if you're going to want to go through that trouble or if you're going to have the budget for that. This way, the TV would just fade into the brick, and you would still have the textured feel of the brick. And then maybe you do, I'm not sure how I feel about the wood mantle staying the brown at that point. You might want to think about doing something else with that. And I would take the screen off, the brass screen. I would probably take that off the fireplace and just leave it open. I don't know if this fireplace is gas or whether it's real logs, because I don't see logs on either side. So I'm thinking it's a gas. So those 2 openings, one of which has nothing in it, and the other one looks like it has audio equipment in it, like a stereo and maybe a speaker or something like that. I would put 2 large ferns or something with a pop of color that's organic that will soften it up. And you could, now that we've done our extensive review of faux plants, you could even do a faux plant, but I think real plants would do beautifully in this room, particularly a fern, even though it's tucked into those little recesses, because there's just so much natural light. And then I would take the painting down that you have next to the television, and on either side of the mantle, I would put something big. Anita probably has ideas of what she'd put, maybe lanterns or big candles or something like that.
Right, but right now it's just one painting on one side, or one piece of artwork, I should say. So it feels a little off balance. So I am definitely of the mind, take that down and either put something similar on both sides, something of similar height on both sides, or don't you put anything there at all.
Yeah, I think I would like some symmetry there, and you could
some
probably
balance.
Yeah, you could probably. It's so wide, everybody, and the TV, even though it looks like a large TV, it's still got a lot of room on either side. So you could probably put three things on either side and do sort of a little, like a vignette, maybe like a lantern and something else. And,
I probably wouldn't do artwork. I'd probably do something like candlesticks or lanterns, something like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't do artwork. I wouldn't do anything hanging on the brick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
And then I like the idea of, painting the rest of the room this light white. You could leave it the wood it is, but I can't tell whether or not, that is, as I said, whether it's stained like a whitewash or whether or not, you intended to paint it at some point. If you left the fireplace mantle as it is, it would match the beam that's running across the top. So maybe I would leave the beam then that color that it is. Because even the room has so much natural light. It does have this rustic feel to it. Don't you think, Anita?
Oh, yeah, it definitely does and I think you'll still keep that with the brick. But if you do all black on there, it's definitely going to give it a contemporary feel. So you just want to make sure that's what you want.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't even know if it's going to feel that contemporary. I mean, I think it can be like modern farmhouse kind of feel.
Oh, well, it's possible. Yeah, that's true.
We don't really know what the rest of the house looks like as far as what style it is. But my thought with the black is just to have the TV fade away.
Well, you will get that from it. Now, I mean, and my feeling is, yeah, I mean, I know what you're doing with that. You're kind of, the TV is going to, you're not going to notice it now if you paint that black. So I see where you're going there. And I think that would be a good idea. Probably if I did that, I would probably prefer the walls to be painted a little bit darker then. So there's not too much of a contrast, but that's me. That's my idea.
What would you do with the walls then?
I would paint them a darker color. So there's not, I don't want to see a big contrast in the color of the fireplace with the side walls.
Okay. So like a gray? Like
maybe a gray or a greige, but something dark. Yeah. I mean,
I think that could be really pretty too.
Yeah. A dark gray, not one of those kind of gunmetal grays that we've talked about.
Oh, like the Kendall charcoal or something like that.
Yes, exactly.
I think that could be really beautiful. And the room could carry it because there's
all the windows.
So many windows and doors. I think there's 2 sets of French doors on one side. There are 2 thin rectangular windows.
It's got lots of light.
Yeah, and then another whole bank of windows on the other side. I mean, it's other than the brick wall with the fireplace, all the other walls are windows.
Right. So I don't know. That's kind of my thought. I mean, it's just kind of, I think, their preference.
Okay, so those are the thoughts, stylistically, if you will. But then, in particular, no matter what color you decide to paint the brick, I think, do you agree, Anita, like that needs to be painted, right?
I think Teresa's going to be happier with it if it's painted.
Yeah. It's just super busy the way it is. And I'm not sure like what the age of that brick is, but I've really never seen a brick like that. Go ahead, clean out your closet, then head straight to Quince. I love every item Quince offers, from wardrobe to decor, and I can really recommend their Ultra Stretch Super Wide Leg Pant at $49.90. The price is unbeatable, and the look is so flattering. It keeps you in on top and flares out of the bottom. Everything feels right with Quince. The price, the quality, and the sustainability. Quince offers a range of luxury wardrobe and home goods at prices within reach. And like Quince's clothing, their home goods are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Once you've cleaned out your closet and refreshed with Quince, you can also add something to your home decor. So give your wardrobe and your home the refresh it needs with Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. And let me know how you love those pants. BritBox just keeps getting better. The new Archie is amazing. And it's not the comics. It's about Cary Grant. Archie is the brand new limited series starring Jason Isaacs as Archie Leach, the man who became Cary Grant. From the award-winning screenwriter of Philomena, Archie tells Grant's born in Britain, made in Hollywood story, the dramatic grit to glamour transformation that led him to become one of the most famous people in the world. You are going to absolutely love the acting, but also the styling, the outfits, the scenery. It's the first time his story has been told in collaboration with his daughter Jennifer Grant and ex-wife Diane Cannon. The performances from Jason Isaacs and the rest of the cast are amazing, and it's only available on BritBox. So sign up for BritBox today to stream Archie and other fan favorites from any device. And we have a special limited time offer for our U.S. and Canadian listeners. Get 50% off, yes, that's 50% off your first month when you sign up for a monthly plan. But only if you go to BritBox.com and use our promotion code DTT at checkout. You're going to love Archie. So head over right now and get 50% off your first month of BritBox. Use the promotion code DTT at BritBox.com.
But I think she's going to really like it. It's a beautiful room. It's got lots of details, lots of windows. Yeah. So I think it'd be great.
I think so too. So in the particulars of actually painting a fireplace brick or a brick wall or anything like that, many of you have asked this question. So let's just go through what would you do? Well, depending on the condition of the room, I'm sure Teresa's room is, it looks beautiful, and I'm sure her house is neat and tidy. But if you're moving into a house and you're not sure whether or not how neat and tidy the person was, I would highly suggest that you really clean the brick. And even if it's just use from a fireplace, there will be soot, there'll be dust. You have to really clean it before you paint it. So you can vacuum it. You can use a wire brush to get any of the soot or anything that might have gone into sort of the little crevices or inside the mortar. And you could even spray it with any kind of cleanser that would be a degreaser, and just really just kind of, as best you can, clean it all up. And then I would suggest a stain blocking primer, or a primer that's made specifically for concrete or masonry. There are certain ones on the market that are just for that. Mm-hmm. It's because there's, particularly in Teresa's, there's a lot of different colors. So the paint might take differently. And especially if you didn't go with a dark color and you went with a light color, there's browns, dark browns, and the grout is really dark. So you'd want to put some sort of primer on there. So when you put your final coat on, there's not any colors bleeding through. And then when you're painting it, you'd want to use a brush for the grout. And I would probably go over all the grout first, if you were painting this yourself, and do that with the primer, and then paint everything over with the primer on the actual bricks. And you could use a roller for that. And you should probably use a small roller, so maybe like a 6.5-inch roller with some sort of nap to it. That's like the fuzzier looking ones, like almost like the shearling-ish look of the little rollers. So you'd want at least a 1/2-inch nap, so that way it will get into all the nooks and crannies, because you don't want to be painting and then you have to keep going over it. And so those would be my suggestions as to how to approach actually painting it. You can use an acrylic latex paint as your finished layer of paint. It doesn't necessarily have to be a high heat paint unless it's inside the firebox, because the outside brick is not going to get that hot. And I would suggest not doing anything shiny. I would do a matte, or as close to a flat as you can, because you don't want to see a lot of it's pretty, but there are imperfections in, the brick, and there's like the grout. It might be too busy if you're seeing it in sort of a lacquer or a semi-gloss.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's a lot of information.
Did I wow you? Did you?
I'm impressed. I'm impressed with your knowledge.
I've done this before, and this is what I would suggest. So we can put links to the different things that you might need for that. But I mean, you could do it. I mean, so obviously you could hire someone, but you could do it in a weekend. And I think it would be, no matter what color you chose, I think you'd be really happy with it. I think it would be great.
Yeah.
So good luck with that, Teresa.
Yes.
A lot of people have asked questions about that. And I did paint my brick fireplace when we lived at our former house. And it was that very orange, not very interesting new brick. And wow. what a difference that made.
Right. And now she was talking about, I'm just reading this email again about lightening it up. So she may not want to go black on this wall. But Teresa, if you do a light color here, I would suggest that you're probably going to have to make more of an effort to hide the cords from the TV. You might be able to go behind the brick somewhere, and it probably is not as expensive as you think it's going to be. We've had this done before, and it was not an expensive thing to have done, where you just kind of hide them. Maybe you go in behind the wall there. So yeah, I mean, that's something that you could do too. I mean, but if you do go lighter, the contrast with the TV is going to be a strong contrast because the TV is obviously black when it's off. And so just keep in mind, if that's something that you're okay with on there. So, I mean, that certainly you do not have to go dark on that if you wanted to go lighter.
Oh, yeah. If you went with, the white, even, it would be very, very pretty. It give the room a different feel. I think the white gives it more of a cottagey look. But yeah, you could for sure do that, or you could do some sort of gray would be really pretty. I just jumped at the black because well, first of all, I love that look. I think it's so clean, and I think it would just.
I mean, I agree with you. I think that would be a lovely look, and I think maybe we gave her something, to think about that maybe she hadn't considered.
Yeah. So I let Teresa know that we were going to answer our question today. So after she hears this, when it comes out, then you could always email us again, my dear, and let us know what you think of our ideas.
And thanks so much for sending in your question, Teresa. And if you've got a question or a tip that you want to share with everyone, please send it in to us, decoratingtipsandtricks@gmail.com. We love, love, love hearing from you. We love seeing your pictures. We're so excited with all your success. And if you have a conundrum, we're here to help you get through it. And as always, remember, we're here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time.
I want to remind you that we are available for design consults. We take on your design dilemmas, questions, renovations, any project you want to talk about, any room, any space. We are here for you. And we really do enjoy doing these. And I think we've helped people a lot. So if you want to sign up for a consult, head to the link in the show notes. It's decoratingtipsandtricks.com/consult. We hope to talk to you soon.